If this continues as a threat, it's my opinion that it will blow. It will blow sky high. It will be the biggest scandal ever, or one of the biggest scandals since Al Capone in terms of organized crime. I believe that there's going to be a lot of embarrassed and a lot of red faces. But to sit here and listen, as people are saying that there's no organized crime, that there's no money laundering, that there's no anything, and that an Indian chief is going to tell Joey Killer to please get off his reservation, is almost unbelievable to me.
You have basically stated that the problem seems to be that the FBI doesn't have any people, or is that correct? Is the issue that you...
No, I think it's far beyond that. I think that people have got paper bags over their faces and nobody's looking. Everybody, it seems to me, from even just a common sense standpoint, knows what's going on.
Did you submit this list to the FBI at any time?
I'm not a law enforcement officer. I'm not supposed to be going around checking Indian reservations. That's what you have the FBI for, and they're very capable, the most capable. But that's not my job. The Indians don't have to pay tax. Nobody's more for the Indians than Donald Trump. And you ask about competing. I love to compete. Nobody likes, and I think many of you folks up there know for a fact that I love to compete. But I like to compete on an equal footing. I'm competing and paying hundreds of millions of dollars in tax. My so-called, as you would call them, opponent, and they're not an opponent, but my opponent is competing and paying no tax. It's not a fair situation.
You indicate that they don't pay taxes.
I didn't indicate they don't pay taxes. I said they're not paying taxes on casino.
No, that's because the profits from it are to go to the reservations.
Oh, really?
In spite of the FBI testimony that this is not a significant problem, Mr. Trump, in one sentence you say they are the most capable of agencies and that you're not a law enforcement expert, and then you tell us that you have superior knowledge to their knowledge about the extent of organized crime on Indian reservations.
You've got a totally closed mind on the subject, sir.
Trump.
We could walk in here with the greatest proof in the history of the world, and frankly, your mind is so closed for whatever reason that I can't believe it.
But you don't
but
have
if
that.
you really want
You don't
to,
have that,
if you really want to
Trump.
study this,
Yes.
when you tell me that there are no FBI agents assigned to the Indian reservations, and yet you have tremendous numbers in Las Vegas and in Atlantic City, tremendous numbers. In fact, two of their largest places. I want to tell you something. You have a long way to go. And for whatever reason, you have a closed mind. I don't know why. Perhaps you could tell me.
No, Mr. Trump, I have a closed mind against evidence that is not substantiated.
Oh, well.
I have a closed mind against statements that are made about other people in generality.
You're going to be very embarrassed in 2 years, sir.
You go on a radio show and you say, now some drunken Indians want to come down here and open a reservation.
I didn't say that, sir. Quote it. I didn't say that. Who said that? Who said that? I'd like an apology right now because I didn't say that.
Imus opened the broadcast, so, excuse me, Mr. Imus said that.
Okay. Could I please have an apology?
You can have an apology.
Thank you, sir.
And then you went on to, is this you discussing Indian blood? We're going to judge people by whether they have Indian blood, whether they're qualified to run a gaming casino or not?
That probably is me, absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, if you look at some of the reservations that you've approved, you, sir, in your great wisdom have approved, I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me. And they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians. And a lot of people are laughing at it, and you're telling how tough it is, how rough it is to get approved. Well, you go up to Connecticut, and you look. Now, they don't look like Indians to me, sir.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether, yeah, depends whether or not you're approving it, sir.
No, it's not a question whether I'm approving it. It's not a question whether I'm approving it. Mr. Trump, you know in the history of this country where we've heard this discussion before, they don't look Jewish to me.
Oh, really?
They don't look Indian to me. They don't look Italian to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a test for whether people could go into business or not go into business, whether they could get a bank loan. You're too black? You're not black enough?
I want to find out.
That's not the-
Well, then why you're
That's not-
approving for Indian? Why don't you approve it for everybody then, sir?
That's not a-
If your case is non-discriminatory, why don't you approve for everybody? You're saying only Indians. Wait a minute, sir.
Stand for it and
You're
find
saying only Indians can have the reservations, only Indians can have the gaming. So why aren't you approving it for everybody? Why are you being discriminatory? Why is it that the Indians don't pay tax, but everybody else does? I do. Why is it that I pay tax? Why is it that senior citizens get tremendous benefit from the taxes that a certain industry does, but the Indians aren't contributing to that? Why aren't the Indians, excuse me, sir, why aren't the Indians that are making all the money in Connecticut, which is the most successful of the Indian reservations, why aren't they spreading the wealth with the other Indians, sir? Why don't you do something for the other Indians that are living in total poverty? Because you know why? Because their
Mr.
reservation
Trump,
is
if you'll
too far
give the
away.
chairman a chance to answer your questions, I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will, absolutely.